Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Nandana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Nandana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna. Jai Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivajacharya Ashtotra Shata Shishimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So, Hare Krishna, we have not transcended the Bhagavad Gita as it is, but we will speak on something. We'll discuss something different tonight, and reason being is because it is Gadadhara Pandit's appearance day, and yeah, so I'll just read a little bit about him. Om Jnanitibadandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Viditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kaptiribhishcha Kripasanibhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu-Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we chant Gadadhar's name every day, or at least we should. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. And the personalities of the Panchatattva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Advaitacharya, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Pandit, they are described within the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and some other books, but those are the main ones. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur, a biography of Lord Chaitanya, and also Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So this particular, what we'll read now, is taken from those books, and it is, a short biography about him. So we'll just start there. Sri Gaur Hari, Lord Chaitanya had so much affection for Sri Gadadhar Pandit that he couldn't be without him for a moment. He appeared a year after Lord Chaitanya. Gadadhar and Lord Chaitanya were inseparable as childhood playmates. Peaceful, renounced, serious, self-composed, fond of solitude, Gadadhar proved quite a contrast to his bosom friend Lord Chaitanya, who was fickle, unsteady, and whimsical. In Gangadas Pandit's school, Lord Chaitanya regularly teased Gadadhar by challenging him with illogical questions. Sri Kavi Karnapur states that in Vraj Leela, Gadadhar Pandit is the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, Srimati Radharani. So he's Srimati Radharani in Krishna Leela. Gadadhar Pandit served as Lord Chaitanya's chief assistant during his Navadvip Leela. Sri Sri Radha Krishna in Vrindavan appear as Gaur Gadadhar to perform pastimes in Navadvip in the forest groves beside the Ganges. No one can describe the characteristics and ecstatic love of Gadadhar Pandit. Therefore, another name for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Gadadhar Prananath. So now you know. If you didn't know that, now everybody knows. You could remember that. That's a name for Lord Chaitanya. Gadadhar Prananath. So Prana, life, Nath, Lord. We were the life and soul of Gadadhar Pandit. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the life and soul of Gadadhar Pandit. Yeah. So, you can imagine how important Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Gadadhar if Lord Chaitanya is Gadadhar's life and soul. Very important, personality. If you were to say, if we were to say that this person is my life and my soul, inseparable from me, or this person, is my life. It's quite a statement. So they had attachment to each other. One day, while wandering along the bank of the Ganges, Chaitanya entered a forest grove and sat in a meditative mood. Soon he became enraptured, remembering his Vrindavan pastimes. To enhance the Lord's mood, Mukunda Datta began singing sweet songs. Sri Gadadhar made a garland of fragrant forest flowers and lovingly placed it around Lord Chaitanya's beautiful neck. As Sri Radha used to dress Krishna and Vrindavan, similarly Gadadhar would adorn the radiant form of Lord Chaitanya. He would also decorate Lord Chaitanya's bed and bedroom with sweet-smelling flowers. Every day he would make sandalwood paste to rub on Sri Chaitanya's transcendental body. Gaur Gadadhar sat on the root of a tree, serving as a raised dais. Nityananda Prabhu sat on Lord Chaitanya's right. Srivas Pandit decorated them with flowers. Sri Advaita Acharya offered artik. Narahari waved a chamara. Shuklambar offered chandan, and Murari Gupta sang the Lord's glories. So this is a song that Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote, Gaur Arti song, describing all this. Vijay Mukunda, there we go. Purushottama, Madhava, and Vasudev Ghosh sang a variety of songs in different ragas. In this way, Lord Chaitanya performed his Nadia Leela. Gadadhar Pandit also took the renounced order of life and went to Jagannath Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. Accepting Chaitra Sannyas, a renunciate who never leaves the Dham, never leaves the place of his service. He served the deity of Tota Gopinath with full love and devotion. Regularly, Sri Chaitanya came to relish Sri Gadadhar's rustica reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Chaitanya concluded his manifest pastimes by entering the deity of Tota Gopinath. So, this sound like Suresh, huh? Maybe Suresh is listening. So this Chaitra Sannyas, I mean, it's quite a vow. There's some people who just they'll say they'll never leave a particular town, like ever, under any circumstance. So, and some people, they go so far they don't even leave the temple compound. They don't leave the temple compound. They don't leave the temple. I mean, it's quite a vow, actually. There was one devotee in Vrindavan. He was a Prabhupada disciple, and Prabhupada just told him, just stay here in Vrindavan and just cook for Krishna Balaram, Radha Shyama. And somehow or other, he got from Srila Prabhupada's statement, Prabhupada was saying he understood, don't leave the campus. And he actually did that. But he wasn't like a insane fellow or eccentric fellow, or not that insane and eccentric are the same, but insane or eccentric or anything like that. He was very sincere, very saintly, very sane devotee. But yeah, he just never left the temple compound. And he would just cook all the time the deity's offerings. His name, Ramapati is walking by. He might know when he comes back. I'm forgetting. Yeah, but I should remember his name also. Yeah, I'm not remembering. But he was just cooking for the deities, and so many offerings, and he would just always be chanting while he was singing. And eventually became so old, his body became so old that he had a hard time cooking. The big pots, and so devotees, they were telling him, "Oh Prabhu, please, stop, you're getting too old. Please, stop cooking." He was very disturbed about that. That was his service, And then what he did is he figured out, okay, what can I do here for some? How can I do some service here at the temple? What can I do? I'm becoming old. What can I do? So he would just sit next to the Charnamrita stand, and when all the pilgrims would come up, he would serve them Charnamrita, and this way he was serving all the devotees. And yeah, he lived his life like that, very Krishna conscious. And yeah, some years ago he passed away. They put a samadhi of him in the back of the Krishna Balaram temple. I think they burned his body and buried the the urn, with ashes in it, buried it under, put a nice memorial, things people could come and visit, No, wasn't a sannyasi. But yeah, Yamuna Devi's samadhis there also are burned, with some of her ashes in an urn buried, I think. So yeah, Gadadhara Pandit, he accepted a vow, Chaitra Sannyas, never to leave Jagannath Puri. And with the idea that he'd be worshipping this deity, Tota Gopinath. Which, if you go to Jagannath Puri, or when you go to Jagannath Puri, there's many holy places within Puri, temples and so on. But going from our ISKCON temple, which is quite a great achievement that we got, it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's place where he used to chant japa. It was like his house there. And ISKCON has that property now. So if you just walk down the road, some minutes, 10 minutes, take a right, walk a few more minutes, and keep on going up the road there. Take a left up the road. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has one of his temples there. That's where he stayed. And specifically, that particular place was the place, it's understood, that where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would see the dunes, or he would see the mountain there, and he would think of Govardhan. He would run towards it. Specifically says dunes. And he would run towards it. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had his place there. And then right across the street from that place is the Tota Gopinath temple. And that's where Gadadhara Pandit would be serving this Tota Gopinath deity. And Tota Gopinath, because Gadadhara Pandit was getting so old, his body, what happened, it's said and explained and accepted that Tota Gopinath he actually sat down. the deity sat down. And if you look at Tota Gopinath today, you see he's sitting. And he sat for Gadadhara Pandit so he could worship him, put the garland on and all that. And it's also said, as we were just reading, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered this deity, Tota Gopinath. So yeah, very, very beautiful deity, Tota Gopinath, and I think Srimati Radharani's there too, and Balaram is there. Lord Balaram is on one altar, and he has his wives Revati and Vruni, I think. But so yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it says that Lord Chaitanya would come there, and he would hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhara Pandit. So this is what I found in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, looking earlier, because I was reading about Gadadhara Pandit a little bit. It says that in this way the Lord happily spent his days hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar. When Gadadhar would recite Bhagavatam, the Lord would manifest various symptoms of ecstatic love. The Lord attentively heard the glories of Prahlad and Dhruva hundreds of times. There it is, because a lot of times you hear devotees say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's favorite pastime was Dhruva Maharaj. And a lot of the times I just hear Dhruva, I don't hear Prahlad. That's my recollection. They always say Dhruva, 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 Dhruva. They don't say Prahlad. But here it says Prahlad and Dhruva. Hundreds of times. Which is you could say, an additional good thing to know. Not just Dhruva, but Prahlad. Yeah, this is Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, chapter 10 of the Antya Kanda, the last book. And chapter 10, yeah, I'll read the verse right now. Let's just see. Chapter 10 is the Glories of Sri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Antya Kanda, chapter 10, Glories of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Antya Kanda, and it is, let's see, text 34. So chapter 10, text 34 of the Antya Kanda. It says, Prahlada Charitra Ara Dhruvera Charitra Shatavriti Kariya Shunena Savahita. The Lord attentively heard the glories of Prahlad and Dhruva hundreds of times. Purport by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The characteristics of Prahlad are described in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, Dhruva. Sri Gadadhara Pandit Goswami was the speaker of Bhagavatam, and Sri Gaurasundar was the listener. He attentively heard topics of Prahlad and Dhruva's cultivation of devotional service from the mouth of Sri Gadadhar hundreds of times. Amazing. So it's a nice reference. Alright, so we'll continue reading about his short biography. Although Gadadhar Pandit was barely 48 when the Lord departed, he quickly became old because of the intense anguish he felt in separation from his beloved Lord Chaitanya. He couldn't stretch his arms to offer a garland to his deity. Understanding his servant's difficulty, Sri Tota Gopinath sat down to facilitate Gadadhar's loving service. To this day, Sri Tota Gopinath is the only sitting deity of Krishna. According to some authorities, a short time after Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, Sri Gadadhar Pandit joined his eternal pastimes by entering his beloved deity of Tota Gopinath. His danta, tooth, samadhi stands near the Vangshi Gopal temple in Vrindavan. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Danta, yeah. Yeah. I guess they just get the tooth and they bury it. Sacred. Yeah, that's true, because I guess Tamal Krishna Goswami had a kavacha with one of Prabhupada's teeth, and one of Prabhupada's tooth? One of his teeth and his kavacha. Yeah, you could put, what is it? You could put someone's tooth, a saintly person's tooth. You could put their body, or I think that's about it. Flowers, yeah, flowers, their tooth, their body. I don't know. I don't know about cloth. So some devotees have a piece of Prabhupada shika. They keep it in there. They keep it in one of their little kavachas. No, not for that. For affection evidence. So, yeah. All right. So now this is what we'll do is. So now what we'll do is we will hear a particular pastime with Gadadhara Pandit and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. This is a very nice pastime. We get to learn about Pundarik Vidyanidhi and also Gadadhara. And I know it's a little difficult when the speaker reads, but I'll read and comment too. So. All right. All glories to Sri Gaurasundar, the life and soul of all. All glories to the abode of Nityananda and Veta's love. All glories to the life and soul of Sri Jagannananda and Sri Garba. All glories to the wealth and life of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. All glories to the Lord of Jagadish and Gopinath. All glories to the associates of Lord Chaitanya. In this way, Lord Chaitanya constantly enjoyed various pastimes with Nityananda and Navadvip. All the devotees accompanied Advaita in dancing and loudly chanting the names of Krishna. This is an important point. Chant the names loud of Krishna because, of course, some people have soft voices, understandable. Naturally, other people's voices will be louder. But there is something to say about chanting loudly because it's mentioned within the Bhagavatam, within the Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Srila Prabhupada once was asked, when my mind is bothering, what should I do? Prabhupada said you could chant loudly. Because, why do people listen to loud music? So many reasons, but one of the reasons is it just drowns out everything else. Whatever's going on in your mind, you just kind of forget about it and just, turn up the music, right? Turn up the music. So in a lot of ways, the kirtan or even japa is like that as well. We just kind of drown everything else out and just hear the mantra. But of course, it gives a lot. There's no comparison of the benefit you get from hearing the mantra versus just hearing some, mundane music. So dancing and loudly chanting the names of Krishna. Nityananda continued to reside in the house of Srivas Pandit. He was constantly in the mood of a child and did not manifest any other mood. He would not eat rice with his own hands. So Malini fed him as her own son. Nityananda. Now hear the description of Sri Vidyanidhi's arrival. His name was Pundarik, and he was very dear to Lord Krishna. In order to glorify the eastern tract of land known as Kshetragram, the Supreme Lord induced him to appear there. One day after dancing, Chaitanya sat down and cried loudly as he exclaimed, "O my father, Pundarik! O Pundarik, my father, O friend, when will I see you, my dear friend?" So, in Chaitanya, or in Krishna's pastimes, Pundarik is the father of Srimati Radharani. So he's Vrishabhanu. He's Vrishabhanu. And it says that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed him as father. Pundarik was such a dear associate of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya manifested many such devotees in this world. The devotees could not at all understand why the Lord cried while calling his name. They said that Pundarik refers to Krishna. But on hearing the name Vidyanidhi, they began to consider. They understood that he must be a dear devotee of the Lord. When the Lord regained his external consciousness, they all inquired from him. Okay, so this is about Pundarik. O Lord, for which devotee do you cry? Please tell us the truth. Let us have the good fortune of knowing him. Please tell us where he was born and what are his activities. The Lord replied, You are indeed fortunate, for you have developed a desire to hear about him. All his characteristics are most wonderful. Simply by hearing his name, the entire world becomes purified. His external appearance is just like a materialist. No one can recognize him as a Vaishnava. He took birth in Kshatragam. He constantly floats in the ocean of devotional service to Krishna. His body is decorated with symptoms of ecstatic love, like tears, shivering, and hair standing on end. He does not take bath in the Ganges, for he fears touching her waters with his feet. He takes darshan of the Ganges only at night. Interesting. It said Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, he avoided the vision of the public and took darshan of Sri Ganga at night. Many people disrespect the Ganges by rinsing their mouths, brushing their teeth, and washing their hair in her waters. On seeing these activities, he feels pain at heart. For this reason, he goes to Ganga at night. Interesting. Now here another of his wonderful characteristics. He drinks the water of the Ganges before worshipping the Lord. Then he worships the Lord and executes his regular duties. In this way, he teaches religious principles to all learned scholars. He came and secretly resided in Navadvip, where everyone saw him as a gross materialist. So Pundarik, they all think he's a gross materialist. None of the Vaishnavas knew him except Mukunda, who immediately recognized him. The learned doctor Sri Mukunda knew him, for they were both born in the same place. The Lord was unlimitedly happy to know about the arrival of Vidyanidhi, but the Lord did not disclose this fact to any of the Vaishnavas. Pundarik appeared to be just like a materialist. Only Mukunda and Vasudeva Dutt knew the glories of his ecstatic love. Gadadhara Pandit, you remember that devotee, Ramapati, who was in Vrindavan? And he was like cooking there for many years. I'm not sure. No. Yes. What was his name? Oh, you're forgetting what his name was. He was a Bengali?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, we'll find out then. Gadadhara Pandit was very dear to Mukunda. He was a constant companion of Mukunda. All right. Now, whatever news Mukunda heard, he would tell Gadadhara. One day he said, so Mukunda's telling Gadadhara, today a wonderful Vaishnava has arrived. O Gadadhara Pandit, listen carefully. Would you like to see a Vaishnava? Today I will show you a wonderful Vaishnava, so that you may think of me as your servant. On hearing this, Gadadhara became very pleased. They immediately departed while chanting the name of Krishna. Vidyanidhi Mahashaya was sitting in his house when Gadadhara arrived before him. Gadadhara Pandit offered obeisances to Pundarik, who in turn offered him a seat. Vidyanidhi asked Mukunda, what is his name and where does he live? I can see that his body is effulgent due to his devotion to Vishnu. His appearance and nature are both enchanting. So he said Pundarik was sitting there as if a priest. He said he sat, not priest, prince. He sat, so this is Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he sat on an opulent reddish couch decorated with brass armrest. There were 3 opulent canopies above his head. Next to him there was an opulent bed covered with fine silk cloth and having pillows on all sides. There were 5 or 7 big and small water pots. There was an opulent brass container filled with already prepared pan. The word jari means water pot or a pitcher with a spout. The phrase patila abata refers to a container for keeping pan. So pan's like a mild intoxicant. You get intoxicated, you chew it kind of like chewing tobacco, but not. 2 opulent spittoons were on his 2 sides. He smiled as he chewed pan and looked at his lips. So I guess he was chewing the pan, and then he was also looking at the spittoons and smiling. 2 persons constantly fanned him with opulent fans made from peacock feathers. So he had 2 persons fanning him. Peacock feathers. His forehead was decorated with sandalwood paste and tilak dots of sandalwood paste vermilion. What can I say about the wonderful style of his hair, which was anointed with fragrant amalaki oil? By the influence of devotional service, his body appeared like that of Cupid. Anyone who did not know him would certainly consider him a prince. I was going to say priest. In front was a wonderful palanquin equipped with all accessories. By his paraphernalia, he appeared to be a materialist. On seeing his materialistic form, some doubt arose in the heart of Sri Gadadhara. So, this description, it wasn't like Mukunda said this is a great Vaishnava, we want to go see him. So Gadadhara and Mukunda went, and this is the external appearance of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. All of these, silk bed and spittoons and chewing pan and hair, fancy hair do with fancy, amalaki oil and fancy everything, very opulent. So he just looked like an ordinary materialist. He wasn't some sage, like living in a. He was a sage, but externally he wasn't a sage, with his head shaved and nothing around him and just very simple, and it was very different. So on seeing his materialistic form, some doubt arose in the heart of Sri Gadadhara. Gadadhara Mahashai had been renounced from the time of his birth. So he developed some doubts about Vidyanidhi. He is a great Vaishnava. His appearance with his opulent foodstuffs, opulent dress, and opulent hairstyle is completely like that of a materialist. Gadadhara had good faith in him after hearing about him, but now that he saw him, that faith was lost. And this is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's short purport. Gadadhara Pandit Goswami considered that remaining totally aloof from material enjoyment and maintaining strict celibacy were religious principles. But on seeing Pundarik Vidyanidhi's items of enjoyment, he thought that Pundarik was devoid of devotion to Vishnu, a gross materialist and a sense enjoyer. When he heard from Mukunda about his exalted position of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he thought that Pundarik would be renounced from all external material enjoyment. But now, on seeing the opposite, his previously acquired faith was diminished. So this next one. Text. Understanding the heart of Gadadhara, Sri Mukunda happily began to reveal Vidyanidhi's glories. By the mercy of Krishna, nothing is unseen or unknown to Gadadhara, for Krishna is the Lord of Maya. Then Mukunda, who sweetly sings the glories of Krishna, began to recite some verses glorifying devotional service. Shashi Putana Shishu Kaita Nidraya Ishvare Vidyate Gela Kala Kuta Laya. That witch, Putana, mercilessly kills children. She tried to kill the Lord with poison. Yet the Lord awarded her the position of mother. How can a foolish person not worship such a merciful Lord? Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam Jigham Sayapayayad Apya Sadvi Lebe Gatim Datri Achutam Tatonyam Kambadayalam Sharanam Brajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of a mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Putana was always hankering for the blood of human children. And with that desire she came to kill Krishna, but because she offered her breast to the Lord, she attained the greatest achievement. So that's a very important verse, because this personality, Putana, she came to kill Krishna. That was her intention. Wasn't to serve Krishna, was to kill Krishna. Of course, no one could kill Krishna, and she couldn't kill Krishna, but that was her intention. And Krishna, but he just saw, oh, she's like a mother, so. But yeah, I mean, she was going around killing babies. I mean, that's like the lowest of the low. But due to association with Krishna, she became purified, and actually Krishna brought her back to the spiritual world. So we see that Krishna is very merciful. Karuna Sindhu, ocean of mercy. Or as one devotee said, he's not Karuna Bindu, which is drop. Bhajanarayan Swami found that somewhere, or came up with it, I don't know. But Karuna Bindu, not a drop, but he's an ocean, Karuna Sindhu. And there has to be examples, and that's one of the examples. And you see some conceptions of God that people have. The conception is, if you don't do what God wants, namely surrender to Him, then you go and have to suffer, right, eternally. Not a lot of people have this conception nowadays. So, but this is just the opposite. That this person was sinful, Putana, but he said, okay, go back to the spiritual world. It's quite amazing. As soon as Vidyanidhi heard this description of devotional service, he began to weep. The unprecedented flow of tears from his eyes appeared like an incarnation of Ganga Devi. All the symptoms of ecstatic love, like tears, shivering, perspiration, losing consciousness, hair standing on end, and loud shouting, simultaneously manifest in his body. So he heard this verse, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he just went into complete ecstasy, thinking about Krishna. And he's crying, and hairs were standing on end, and shouting, and it said like Ganga Devi, the flow of Ganga Devi, the river, with his tears. He roared loudly while exclaiming, "Go on reciting, go on reciting." He could not remain steady and fell to the ground. He broke all the surrounding paraphernalia by the kicking of his feet. So he's just thrashing everything. Nothing was spared. What happened to the opulent pan container and the nicely prepared pan? What happened to the water pots that were used to drink water? Where did the bed fall by the kick of his feet? Out of ecstatic love, he tore apart his opulent cloth with his two hands. What happened to his opulent hairstyle as he rolled on the ground and cried profusely, "O Krishna, O my Lord, O Krishna, O my life and soul, you have made my heart hard like wood or stone." He lamented and cried loudly, "In your present incarnation I have been deceived." He fell to the ground and rolled about so forcefully that everyone thought, "Have his bones been broken to pieces?" He shivered so vigorously out of ecstatic love that even 10 men could not hold him still. Clothes, bedding, water pots, bowls, and all the paraphernalia were smashed by the kicking of his feet. There was not a single item spared. All of his servants then pacified and protected what was left. After revealing his ecstatic love for some time in this way, he remained lying there unconscious due to ecstasy. There was no symptom of life in his entire body as Vidyanidhi merged in the ocean of bliss. After seeing this, Gadadhara was struck with wonder and became somewhat worried. I have disregarded such a great personality. At what inauspicious time did I come to see him? Gadadhara Pandit embraced Mukunda with great satisfaction and bathed him in tears of love. "O Mukunda, you have acted as my real friend, for you have shown me the great devotee, Vidyanidhi. Is there another Vaishnava like him in the 3 worlds? In fact, the 3 worlds become purified by seeing his devotional service. I was able to avoid a great danger because you were with me. On seeing his materialistic appearance, I considered him a materialistic Vaishnava. You understood my mind and revealed the devotional mood of Pundarik." Another name for Pundarik, Vidyanidhi, right? Nidhi, ocean, Vidya, knowledge, but it's also Prema Nidhi. ocean of prema, love for Krishna. I have committed an offense, so please have him bestow mercy on me so that my offense is nullified. All the devotees who are on the path of devotional service must have a spiritual master. So far, I do not have an instructor. My desire is to take mantra initiation from him. If I become his disciple, then he will forgive all the offenses I have committed by disregarding him. So you want to take initiation. After contemplating in this way, Gadadhara expressed to Mukunda his desire to take initiation. Hearing his proposal, Mukunda was greatly satisfied. He said, "Very good, very good." After 6 hours, the most grave Vidyanidhi regained his external consciousness and sat down peacefully. So he was laying there for 6 hours. Gadadhara Pandit's unlimited tears made his entire body wet. Seeing this, Vidyanidhi Mahashaya was most pleased. He embraced Gadadhara and held him to his chest. As Gadadhara stood there in awe and reverence, Mukunda revealed Gadadhara's mind. Doubts arose in my mind when he saw your behavior and opulence. In order to atone for his offense, he has now decided to take initiation from you. Alright, just a few more. Alright, it says he's a renounced devotee from birth, Gadadhara Pandit, constant companion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please select an auspicious day to initiate him. And then they pick the day. Taking leave of Mukunda on that day, Gadadhara went to see Lord Gauranga. Lord Vishwambar was unlimitedly pleased to hear of the arrival of Vidyanidhi. Yeah, so it goes on. They're dancing in ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya and Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And then, yeah, he accepted initiation. Premanidhi. Pundarik. Anyone who reads or hears about the meeting of Pundarik and Gadadhara obtains the wealth of love. Accepting Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So yeah, Lord Gadadhar is Srimati Radharani, and yeah, as we were just hearing, that Pundarik is Rishubhanu, Srimati Radharani's father. So it's interesting that in Chaitanya Leela, Pundarik Vidyanidhi gave initiation to Gadadhar Pandit. Yeah, so interesting dynamic happening there. And yeah, I mean, this pastime, of course, it's very amusing to hear just because of Pundarik Vidyanidhi and the quite amazing pastime. But it also, you could say it also teaches us that we have to try to be careful when dealing with Vaishnavas, because we don't really know what's in their heart. I mean, we may have some idea. Of course, that idea may be wrong, like Gadadhar Pandits. But you could say there's some danger. Well, there's really danger in dealing with anybody, because it's hard to know anybody's intentions, really. So, therefore, the idea is to, even though despite our differences and despite our differences of understanding of the philosophy, differences of, you could say, modes of preaching or teaching Krishna consciousness, a general respect is there in the Vaishnav world, because it's really hard to know somebody's intentions, and the danger comes when, what if we're wrong in our assumptions? That's the danger. Because, like, I was talking with some devotee, and I was talking to many devotees about this, but there there may be some truth to some person's criticism of some devotees. It just may be true. This person, this leader, that leader, this Prabhu, this Dasi, that Dasi, this Swami, that Swami. There may be some activities that they're doing that are just not right, possibly. Or they may have done something in the past that hasn't been right, possibly. But the danger comes is in just accepting that they did do that in the past, or that they're doing that now, but what if they're not? That's the danger. Because we're in big trouble if we're just casting all of these, if we're perceiving certain individuals in a particular way, an offensive way, not giving them proper respect, thinking they're, I mean, in some cases it's really offensive, like, this person, I can't believe this person did this, and involved with all these illegal activities of violence and blah blah blah, so many things. Yeah, it may be true, but what if it's not? That's a problem. Because if it's not true, then we run the risk of just being really offensive towards possibly a really good devotee. So that's why it's advised that within this age, which is quarrel and hypocrisy, that not to get so involved in he said, she said type of stuff. Not to get so involved in that because yeah, it just may not be true. And even if it is true, it's questionable how much that actually helps us, knowing about people's problems. I mean, it's really questionable. And it would be, we would be safe to say that in many cases it doesn't help at all. It doesn't help, but it hampers one's devotional service. So, of course, nowadays it's very common for people to criticize people. I guess naturally in the material world it happens, but yeah, best to stay away. It's very poisonous, actually. And even you could say in Chaitanya's Leela, of course, it's pastimes. It's Leela, it's pastimes. You could say Gadadhara Pandita is instructing us by him seeing Pundarik Vidyanidhi as some materialist, and then not having much faith in him or doubting him, and then of course it being revealed that he is a great devotee, that saying that we have to be careful about that, because Krishna, he's one of his main qualities is that he is a Bhaktavatsal, which means he's very affectionately inclined towards his devotees. And it means he has a lot of affection, a lot of love, a lot of affection for his devotees. So we don't want to offend the devotees, because that means it's like you're offending Krishna. Just like one devotee told me that there was some boys did this, they did a experiment, kind of a strange experiment, but they put a picture on the wall of somebody that they really don't like, they hate, like the Democrats. they would put a picture of Trump there, for example. Sorry for bringing it up, but anyways, these boys had a particular person they didn't like, whoever that was, I don't know, another boy or somebody who's bullying them, who knows who it was. They just put this picture up, and what they did was they were throwing darts at the picture of this person's body or face or whatever. Yeah, let's say body, their whole body, throwing darts. So then, and apparently it was kind of like a Christian type of school, and then the teacher or whoever was managing this experiment said, "Okay, all of you have done this. You have thrown darts at the person you don't like, you hate. So now I'm going to reveal something to you. Oh, are you ready for this?" And they all said yes. And then the teacher went up to all these pictures, and they took down the picture of the person they were throwing darts at, and who was behind the picture? Lord Jesus Christ. Now, of course, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that with pictures of Krishna. So, but the principle is, it's a good lesson that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that all these living entities, they're all my part and parcels. So, so they're all part of Krishna. So they're all intimately connected with Krishna. So if we're, you could say, hating people, we should think about that. Because they're coming from Krishna. Especially devotees. I mean, devotees are special because they're directly related to Krishna, but even everybody else. So that's what this lesson, the boys got that lesson. So, all right. So does anybody have any comments, questions?
None here.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have a few more minutes.
I was wondering, with Pundarik Vidyanidhi, of course, he's living in a very opulent way, but actually he's a devotee and has a great, under sentiment, but great devotion, love for Krishna. But the general advice is, even if one is an advanced devotee, then one, of course, doesn't
Don't do that.
Yeah. So live in a way which people will get the right idea, because like, given that story, someone could look at it and think, oh, well, see, Vidyanidhi's chewing pan and has, lives a very opulent lifestyle, but it's not in contradiction, it's not, it's not contrary to his devotion to Krishna, and therefore let me at it. But so the advice is that even if one's a very advanced devotee, then one acts such a way that other people can follow and not degrade themselves. So do you have anything to say on to help? Yeah. Could you say anything about
why he was doing that, or?
Yeah. Why this special circumstance is laudable or appreciated, but is there ever given any reason why in Pundarik Vidyanidhi's case it's actually better he was like that? Like why Pundarik Vidyanidhi would live like that, as opposed to just like living a very an ascetic life?
I mean, as far as I've read, I haven't heard or read anything where it explains like why he was doing that. Yeah. But one thing that I do think of is, or one person I think of, is Gorkishore Das Babaji. Now, Gorkishore Das Babaji, he lived in the opposite way of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Very simply and, very simply. I mean, it said that, he didn't have a house. He lived right next to the bank of the Ganges. He said sometimes he would eat the mud of the Ganges just to pacify his stomach. And he was very not understood from materialistic people. He was sometimes outwardly mean to them and stuff like that. But the reason, and specifically I'm thinking one time he actually decided to live in a latrine. And what was his reason? And his reason was that some materialistic people wouldn't bother him, because within India, even nowadays, you're a big Swami, big Guru or something, and they come up to you, please give me blessings. A lot of them they want material blessings. So he would live there just to not have to deal with those people. And he would say that, and it's understood that the better the latrine situation than association with these materialistic people. And he lived there for quite some time. So he was definitely in disguise. He was in disguise. Whether he did that like Gorkishore Das Babaji or not, it's not clearly stated, but it definitely was a good way to for people not to realize he's a Vaishnava. Yeah, so. But yeah, we shouldn't imitate, nor should we imitate Pundarik, nor should we imitate Gorkashore Babaji. So Prabhupada set up certain guidelines that we're supposed to follow. All right, Shri Gadadhara Pandit Ki Jai.